Like
Mm-mm.
those news broadcasters that they're just like waiting for the cue.
Yeah, like to your point. But with that said, it is starting now. So,
Okay.
welcome everybody to another episode of. I still haven't figured out what the name of the show is, but basically, my name is George. I've taken an extra step of one of my mentors, Pace Morby, of being able to create a YouTube channel and highlight certain people that I've run into on a daily basis. And Lisa Martinez ended up being one of them that we kind of are doing the same thing, but in separate paths, but being able to lean on each other and kind of look at each other's growth and obviously reach out to each other and try to, get a couple deals locked up, which I think we have one in the background. But obviously, from you, you guys that know, it's the secrets and the follow up. But with no further ado, thank you, Lisa, for having coming on here, and basically letting everybody know a little bit about yourself and how they can possibly work with you in the near future or the things that you're doing in the background. Since I kind of see you as the silhouette. Like I know she's there, but she's handling business in the background. So thank you, Lisa,
Behind the
for coming
scenes.
on.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. This is fun. This is like one of the things for 2025 that I'm trying to like get back active on like social media and stuff. Because, like you said, I am kind of like a shadow in the
Yeah,
background sometimes. I think that just has to do with the whole like I'm very I guess kind of tend to lean on like an integrator side of things. So
right.
and I'm an introvert, so but I do know that there is value in just kind of being more like you, because everyone knows you, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Extroverted. So
It
yeah,
is.
that's one of the things for this year. But um, about me, I guess, is that I've been doing the real estate thing since like 2020, like early 2020.
Nice.
I think my LLC was born actually. Wait, hold on. I think actually 2019. I think it was in like April is when my LLC was born, and then
Oh,
like I think 2020 was like when I kind of started doing a little bit more. But
right.
yeah, I just kind of been doing that mostly wholesaling, and I'm also licensed, in Texas as well as a real estate agent. But I don't really practice too much on the traditional side of things. It's mostly for MLS access, and I also maybe list other properties for investor
Right.
friends, but not so much like just like your average home seller or home buyer. Um, so that's kind of what I do, and of course, creative finance and sub
Mhm.
two, but I haven't really done a ton of sub two deals. So that's something that I'm kind of working on. There's just a lot more moving parts than cash,
True.
cash wholesale. So I feel like cash wholesale deals are a little bit more clean cut, and
Mhm.
sub two is a lot more underwriting and all of that. And yeah, other than that, I mean, I've kind of just done a little bit of everything when it comes to marketing, when it comes to just, the cold calling myself and everything, pretty much all the hats, transaction coordination, dispo. And now I'm just kind of, still learning how to build, because there's always been like ups and downs, and
Right.
when I think I'm getting traction in one area, then it kind of,
Yes.
it's yeah, it's always just like back and forth. So I'm just kind of trying to work with what is going on, and kind of have like a consistent upward trajectory, I guess. So yeah.
Got you, Lisa. Well, man, that's a blessing to say you started towards the end of 2019 and actually taking action in 2020. And it seems like even though, and I like that misconception when I do promote stuff too, when people, oh, you only do sub two. Like, no, when I started, kind of like you were saying, Lisa, I don't really do sub twos. It's just now that I learned it, or basically it is just being able to figure out the seller situation where it is you're learning how to disqualify cash, you're learning how to
Mhm.
disqualify listing it, renting it out, and possibly fixing yourself. Like, have you thought about creative financing? But because you went through those parameters per se, or you close those other options, you have nothing else left but to do sub two. And I enjoyed a conversation we had with a current one of your leads that obviously you're I kind of see you being a specialist in SEOs, and that's something that I'd be curious to learn more about. But yeah, just learning that there's always a solution for every problem, and obviously you getting more comfortable not only on the screen and highlighting all these skills that I know you have. But about SEO, why that route? Because I'm very curious about what is SEO for the people that are probably watching.
Yeah, so it stands for search engine optimization, meaning just kind of trying to get your website to pop up, higher on the they call it SERPs, search engine results page. So the pages on Google, trying
Right.
to get it pop up on first page, this is organic, pretty much just people that are typing in certain keywords. You want to be able to rank for those and hopefully get conversions. So like a web form fill out or call. And why did I kind of started doing that? I don't know. I guess it just kind of always thought like having an online presence was it. There's a lot that goes on online, and it doesn't hurt to have that.
Right.
I've done all sorts of marketing, like how
Mhm.
I say, usually when you're starting out, you're kind of like jumping around. And I did that, cold calling,
Yes.
texting, direct mail, all of that. SEO was kind of one of just those things that I was like, well, let me try to learn it. And it is a very slow process. But the way that I saw it was, when people think of online, they usually think of PPC, like Google
Yes.
ads or Facebook ads. But the downside to that is, once you turn it off, your lead flow also turns off.
Very
So
true.
you got to keep spending money like
Yeah.
consistently to keep it going. So it gets very expensive. I mean, it works for people. I mean, don't get me wrong, but
Sure.
it is very expensive. Whereas with SEO, it is more of like I mean, if you don't know how to do it, then yeah, you would have to outsource, but it's more
Mhm.
of a time uh, intensive thing. And, but it becomes very, the cost of marketing
Mhm.
decreases with time almost because you kind
Gotcha.
of build it up on the front end, and years down the line you really don't have to spend as much on it anymore because it's what they call evergreen. So it's like it's growing on its own and it
Nice. Okay.
compounds. Yeah, so that's kind of the way I looked at it, like when I first was thinking about doing like online, because I always thought like, okay, I want people to come out, come to me like
Yes.
inbound. And I think that also had it had part of the reason why I think I kind of had a slow start with like just doing deals and all that was
Mhm.
because I was always like trying to get people to come to me. Like I would post on like Craigslist and stuff, like trying to get calls, but then my post
Right.
would get like shut down. But I was always like kind of like scared of cold calling. I mean, I did it, but it wasn't something that I was like, yeah,
Right.
make some calls. I was just always like trying to find ways for people to come to me, and I was like, okay, SEO, I think that should work. But yeah, I've been doing that for just kind of slowly working on my site.
Mhm.
I think the domain that I have now, so I've actually gone through kind of like two websites. One
Yeah.
was another domain that I pretty much named the same as my LLC, and I feel like it didn't really have a lot of like keyword optimization. Like, so it was just like the name of my LLC.com. And, it
Right.
had the word home solutions in it, but it's not like a keyword I think that someone would be searching for. So now my current website, it has like a straight, like keyword heavy name. It's just Texas
Okay.
cash home buyers. So I feel like that also helps. But I had originally hired a company whenever it was like that first website. And
Right.
I was spending like $550 a month to have
Wow.
them work on my site. But after I kind of just like started seeing like what they were actually doing, I mean,
Right.
they were maybe getting me a couple backlinks a month, where basically what that is another website linking to you,
Mm.
and that tells Google that other websites trust you, so you must be able to you
Okay.
have more credibility. So I was having them spend, or I was spending that much. They were kind of doing a little bit of backlinks. They kind of wrote a couple articles for me.
Okay.
Just little things that I was like, I can probably do this. And
Right. Save some
yeah,
money and into something else probably that's gonna
yeah.
bring you more value.
Pretty much. So that's kind of what happened. I wasn't seeing a ton of traction, with them, and I kind of learned enough to kind of just kind of go on my own and do it. And
Got it.
Yeah, so it was a lot more money saving, but it did become more like, okay, now I gotta
That's
manually do the things, and it takes time. So
gotcha. But you
mhm.
said once you put in that work, once you quote unquote lay down that foundation, like you're saying the evergreen, now you're not doing as much work because obviously at the beginning you didn't know, but you seen kind of what they're doing. Let me
Mhm.
try it out, and like, oh crap, I'm failing here, but this is working. And now it's to where you don't have to do anything now, or where's that at now?
Yeah, pretty much. So it's not something where I have to like do something monthly if I don't want to. So I mean, yeah, the better consistency that you keep with it, like, you don't want to not keep it working because someone could come around the next day and start working on their SEO and like outrank you. Like that's kind of one
Right,
of those things that you can't just like ignore it after a while.
right,
But it is a lot more consistent. So I kind of just spend maybe a couple $100 purchasing backlinks through other
okay,
other like service providers, and that's kind of the only thing that I'm outsourcing at the moment.
right,
As far as like the like content, like creating blogs or
hmm,
articles and stuff, I do that manually.
okay,
And just kind of like editing my actual like the look of my website and the words that are on my website, I'll do that myself. So just like little tweaks and
hmm,
optimizations and stuff like that, I'll do, but then I'll outsource like the backlink building. So
okay.
yeah, it's pretty
Well,
cheap now.
Well, that's good to know, Lisa, because I'm learning too. Because I thought it was just this nice little website, my cheesy smile, and I do foreclosure, I do this, and it's not that. I guess from what I'm hearing, you also have to have, I guess, backlinks
Yeah, yeah. So it's not one of those things where you can just build a site and
or
like be done with
billboards.
it. Yeah, like you have to actually like work on it, because no one's gonna find you really. Like
Right,
if you're not like doing all these like little things to get it, where you're actually have traffic.
right.
So that's kind of the main thing that I've heard a lot of people say is that like I have a website, but I'm not getting any leads.
Yes.
You know, so I'm like, but what are you like? How so like just to kind of get like super basic with it,
Mhm.
like the website itself, the way that it looks, the words that it has on it, that's
Right,
just kind of more of one, it helps with credibility, just reviews, your pictures, videos, stuff like that. But then the words on the website are what, once you start building backlinks and getting like authority for your site,
right,
those are the words that are going to start becoming keywords when people are searching. So like if your website is very clear about what you do, cash buyer, the sell my house fast, all those like typical keywords,
right.
and now you have backlinks being pointed at it, like it's going to boost all of those words, and now someone's typing on Google, and there you start
Pop up.
popping up, right? So
Got it.
that's just kind of like a little bit of how that works. And you won't really pull out those keywords without having those like trust signals. And then also just trying to have like your company or your brand just kind of be in as many spots online as possible. So creating like Facebook profile or Instagram and all these things that would like a real business would do,
Right.
kind of just take up as many spaces and try to be easier to, be found. That's kind of like
Got
the
it.
goal. Yeah.
Gotcha, Lisa. And I'm curious. Obviously, you say you started with a company, but you realized that a lot of the things they were doing you could do yourself. So I was just curious. And I don't want to put you out there. Like, if you were to provide that service, and maybe as your real estate is crushing it, and now you're like, oh crap, what would you think about if you were to do that business that you actually hired somebody one time? What would you do better, or do you have any referrals other than I don't know if you want to put yourself out there? I'll help you fix your SEO and all that stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I've actually thought about that maybe sometime in the future, because I mean that would be like a whole like side thing, and
Yeah,
managing people and their expectations on like how quick SEO is supposed to be working and stuff. Because
true.
but as far as I guess like recommendations on tools or things that like people can use to try to do it
Well,
themselves, or
yeah, yeah, like 'cause based on your journey, based on when you were interested in SEO and you did pay, and you're like, oh crap, I'm not getting what I wanted, and then you're actually like looking, I can do this better. do you think most companies are the same way? Not to bash anybody, you don't have to
Oh,
call.
I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, with the company that I was working with, they didn't really, I guess, I mean, they gave me like an overview of what
Hmm.
was happening, like, oh, here's kind of what we did and that kind of thing, but
Hmm.
they weren't really explaining the why behind it.
Right.
Like why they were selecting certain I don't know, I don't want to like get too much in like certain jargon, like, but
Right.
they weren't really explaining a lot of that stuff, which I feel like I don't know if other companies do that or not, but
Hmm.
um, like, hey, if I tell you I'm going to charge you $5,000 to get your site to rank, like I
Right.
would want to know what exactly are you doing to see if that's, well, in my case, if it's, I don't know, something that I could probably do, but maybe
Right.
someone that doesn't know anything. I mean, just to kind of have that like background on what's going on, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm answering the question right though. Let me know.
No, no, you're right. I love you brought up the why part. It is you, you yourself as the consumer knowing what your why is, so then you can possibly regurgitate or basically like say, I want something real cheesy. I want something. And they give you, I don't know, something opposite from cheesy. Like, no, this is not cheesy. I need more cheese. And so that person's a, because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, we are in the service industry, whether it's real estate and these other services that you get provided and you pay for. So it's actually understanding what it is that you want. So
Yeah.
no, you kind of answer. Yeah, you did answer my question. Is before jumping into something, you actually know what your why is, and so, but it seems like you got what you want out of it, and so as far like I said, I think that can be a whole different video about SEOs. But for right now, for your lead generation, is that what you mainly target right now, or work on marketing channels?
Yeah, pretty much. It's all SEO leads. I mean, I
Mhm.
was doing the last marketing that I was doing was cold calling. Yeah, so I had a VA doing that,
Right,
and but it wasn't really producing. I wasn't really getting like a good amount of leads or like quality leads, and it was just very, it was very like cost intensive to kind of
yes,
keep them on and like all that kind of stuff. Um, so now, yeah, it's a lot cheaper. There's a less like overhead and all that, but
hmm,
with getting the lead flow, I mean, there was still also problems that kind of generated through there
hmm,
that you would think like, okay, now we have leads, like that's a good thing, and it
yes,
is. But so the way that I kind of have my website set up was it's like a Texas wide, website, and
right,
like I was getting leads, I was getting all over across Texas. But the thing was that with SEO, it's a little harder to like target versus like
right,
with PPC. Maybe you can just like focus on a certain like area,
true.
but SEO is like literally pretty much like any keywords that you're able to get, like you'll get leads.
Oh
So I was
wow,
getting a lot of Texas leads, very small markets, stuff where I was like, who's gonna buy here? Like
right,
there's no comps, like stuff sits on the market for over like, over 6 months.
right,
I don't know how to like make an offer on this thing. And the sucky part was that these sellers, that like they want to sell, they're motivated, but I'm just
hmm,
like, I don't know. Um, and I know there's other strategies like innovations, which I hear people do with like smaller market stuff. So I'm still working on kind of refining that process and pitch and stuff. But so that became a problem. Was okay. Now I gotta find buyers for stuff that
right,
potentially in the middle of nowhere, and just like markets outside of Houston.
right.
So I do also have a like cash buyer website. I just haven't really
Tweaked
put
it.
in like time, yeah, to like get it to start ranking. I get a few like cash buyer leads, but that's something
Mhm.
that I kind of want to like also do as like less like a side thing. Like, okay, I'm
Right.
generating seller leads. Can I do buyer leads? And that's kind of what I'm working on.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. 'Cause I know the majority of the people what that do run a dispo business, a lot of it, I'm pretty sure you heard too, Lisa, that they are relying on investor lift. But I do hear some other ones now, and so it's like, oh man, because there's always a prop stream, there's always going to be a batch leads, there's going to be something better. But I guess that bases off, these individuals that either they have multiple businesses to where how can I say it's always gonna be a newer thing. So
Mhm.
what you got going on could be the next best thing, or kind of like my wife tells me, George, you I don't want to make money off of this because I guess that's my visionary. Like, hey, you made this out of jewelry out of I don't know minerals and stuff. Why don't you sell it? Like, no, stop it. So I'm always coming up with those ideas. So it is kind of listening to you to where like, oh, maybe you can run an SEO business. Now you can create a cash buyers, like your version of investor lift and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
I mean, that's actually been something that's like gone through my head, like, have
mhm,
my own just like database of buyers, for my own
right,
stuff. But then I'm like, okay, I don't want to get like shiny object. I think that's why it's taken me a while to like actually
true.
start working on the buyer site.
Hmm.
But I think I can just do it little by little and just try to figure out like if we do get something in a other
Hmm.
market, just kind of work with someone else until we kind of get a little bit more process going. Yeah.
Gotcha, Lisa. Okay, well, just curious. I know there's obviously you're crushing it right now. You're making a lot of leaps and bounds that I've seen you. Just the 2 years me being in sub two. But I was just curious before that. I guess what actually got you into real estate, or even since you were an agent and were you agent first, and we're curious about the investing side. Can you share that a little bit about that?
No, so yeah, I kind of just came across real estate randomly, like on YouTube, and
Hmm.
it was more. I was looking up like fix and flip because that's I didn't know about wholesaling or anything like that.
Right.
And then a video came out across about wholesaling, and I was like, "What is that?" And just kind
Uh
of went into the rabbit hole. So,
huh.
um, yeah, so I kind of started more on that end, and then I got my license maybe like
Okay.
a yearish later.
Hmm.
And I think I got my license because around the time that was when Illinois was having
Oh
their
yeah.
regulation stuff.
Hmm.
So like, well, let me get it before it comes down here, because
Yeah.
states getting regulated. And yeah, so I think I've been licensed now for like 4 years, but like I said, I don't do a lot on that side.
Right.
I mean, I don't mind like listing stuff for other investors, like their wholesale deals or innovations.
Mhm.
I've done it for a few, but I also kind of can't really take on too many because like I'm doing my stuff with my
Yes.
thing, and I also work a W-2 part time, and
Oh wow, I didn't know
real
that.
estate agent, and so like it kind of there's a lot of stuff, but I like to keep busy because
Right, there you go, and that explains why on our side conversations, like I never see Lisa. I see her like maybe not as frequently as a full moon, but every once in a while, oh, there goes Lisa in person, and or having random phone calls. But
yeah.
yeah, so you have a 9 to 5, you do this on the side, and I guess how could I say would your future goal still be keeping your 9 to 5 and do this on the side, or what does Lisa look like in I don't know 5 years or 10 years?
Yeah, no, so I kind of had to go back to work after like I don't know, like the market got weird, right? Like I don't know, maybe it was just me because I was always just doing everything on my own, right? And it's
Right.
kind of hard to like do a lot. So I had to go back to work, and I didn't want to, but
Mhm.
I was just like kind of like trying to stay afloat and stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't stop doing what I was doing, like I still kept like some marketing going and that kind of thing. Um but I would still probably want to quit again as long as I can, cover what I'm currently making, which is not a lot. It's a part-time job, so like I mean,
Right.
it's, just enough to cover some expenses. But yeah, I think really now that I'm seeing more consistency with the leads, that
Mhm.
it's gonna, like how Pace says, if you don't have a business, if you don't have leads. So now that
Yes.
there's more leads, okay, we got like more opportunities to potentially get something under
Mhm.
contract. And um because before, like I think that was, like I mentioned, like there's always these ups and downs where maybe I didn't have leads before and now I do, and then it's like, but I'm working now, so I don't have the time to do it, so now I gotta
Right.
like try to bring someone else on, which I do have like a partner that I'm working with, and he kind of handles like more of the call flow.
Nice.
And when we do get something under contract, then I'm kind of more like the TC dispo person.
Okay.
Yeah. So, But as things kind of pick up a little bit more, I think I'm gonna have to bring on a TC, and I'll still kind of, and I even still take calls too, like after when I get off.
Mhm.
So like I'm kind of doing a lot, but yeah, I would eventually try to quit and then just kind of place like these key people and
Mhm.
just kind of keep like the marketing, going. Because
Gotcha.
like my goal would be to increase the current leads that we're
Mhm.
getting, which they've been really consistent. We're just trying to, I guess, refine the like the avatar that we get, like that
Mhm.
come in through the web forms and all of that, because I feel like a lot of, when it comes to a cash offer, a lot of sellers don't really understand what a cash offer means.
Yes.
And, they come in thinking, their house is worth Zillow, and they're willing to take like a $20, 20K, off the price. I'm like, that's
Right.
not really enough for a cash investor, but
True.
so there's a lot of that comes through. So
You
yeah.
wouldn't you wouldn't jump on trying to, since you don't want to be a, you don't want to take the I guess investor hat off and put on your realtor hat, like, well, I can list it for you, because that's going to involve a lot more
Yeah,
responsibilities of,
it's
and you being in front of the camera, man. I got this beautiful house. It's only for something.
yeah.
Come
I
on.
mean, I wouldn't mind referring them because yeah, it is like a lot of extra work.
Mhm.
But every time that if I did ever mention that, they always have a friend, neighbor, someone that is
Right.
already an agent, and they're like, well, I'm gonna go with them
Gotcha.
if I end up listing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, sounds like, Lisa. Obviously, you have uh there, like I said, that's what I think, what I enjoy what we're doing, not only in real estate, but just being an entrepreneur in general, compared to working a 9 to 5, to where you might be capped out at a certain level, or you might have to compete with a lot of people, to what we're doing, there is no cap. But obviously,
Mhm.
the earlier you wake up, or the earlier you get to what you're doing, the possibilities are endless. So I can see you just, keep doing what you're doing, and as you're tweaking SEO and the more leads come in with your partner, and I believe I know who you're talking about, gets overwhelmed, and like, or going back to what pace, that's a good problem to have. Now
Mhm.
you're bringing somebody else, but do we have the systems in place to where my partner and yourself, kind of annotate everything, to where
Mhm.
there are those quote unquote SOPs in place, to
Yeah.
kind of just bring in the next person, and now they have the support, because you guys are having so many opportunities, and that may be able to opportunity for that person to stay, because
Yeah.
they have the right systems to follow, everything's working, and they just concentrate on their one thing, and most than likely they'll shine and
Mhm.
crush
No, yeah, that's a good point because I think, growing the team for sure, like when I tried in the past,
it.
I've had like systems, and I am, like I said, I'm very integrator, so I have
Yeah.
like, Google Docs and things, videos and stuff. But it's one thing to get the other people to actually go through them and
True.
but other than that, I think an issue was there wasn't enough lead flow to really like
Yes.
support, everyone. And it does become kind of hard, especially when trying to do something on like a commission based sort of level.
True.
So I was like, okay, let me not do that anymore. And I'll kind of just work through things and kind of be very, what do they call it, like a lean team, I guess, just me and my
Right.
partner now, and we'll kind of grow slowly but surely. So
Got it, Lisa. And it's funny how you mentioned that, because then that's why, like I said, I enjoy, seeing your journey as well, aside, and just seeing, the trials and tribulations you face, to where it's not like, oh, Lisa's going through the same thing. Ah, she sucks. No, like, oh crap,
yeah.
I'm going through the same thing too. But I see her still crushing it. She's been in it since 2020, and now, not 2020, but yeah, 2020. I'm sorry, I was thinking of 2000 for some reason. But you've been in long enough to see the different markets going up and down, but knowing that real estate is still here. So, and seeing you go through certain things, like, okay, this is just normal. I
Mm,
bring in 10 people. I had 10 people on the Zoom. We're making calls, but because nothing was generating, they all left.
yeah.
So it's like, I have the knack of bringing people in. So I kind of label myself like, when you were walking down the street and the club promoter, hey, what's up, I'm George, man. Come on in, man. $5 first drink is on me. Enjoy the night. And so I'm able to bring them in, sell them the dream, But
Mm-hmm.
because maybe my systems and processes weren't down packed, or like you said, I didn't have enough lead flow, or I didn't know how to distinguish what a hot lead was compared to a cold lead, and this person's not really, to where I still needed to jump in there and kind of wear both hats still,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
perfect that system.
Right. Yeah. It's very when you're trying to grow a team, like you're one step forward, two steps back, right? Because you're
Yeah.
trying to like get them to like your level,
Hmm.
and that's kind of yeah. It's tough, but I'm not giving up on that. I'm still
Right.
going through. Eventually, just
True.
I think I've seen a lot of people do it with like small little teams. As long as
Yeah.
everyone is like taking accountability for what their roles
True.
are, and just working together. And I think that's always been just something to get people to understand that, like, even though I created like the systems and it's like my website brand and stuff, like we all kind of still have to like have certain responsibilities. So.
True. True. Or figure out where you fit best. Are you do you like to get cursed out all the time, like this guy George? You just smile because he has Lisa to lean on, or maybe they're making calls and I see Lisa smiling, so let me go jump on the next call, because it is hard. And I spoke to somebody else about this. Is like getting through that, that negative call, or getting cursed out, or that agent that seems kind of standoffish, but remembering that we're all humans. It's kind of maybe just having a bad day, and but I'm not for everybody. But let me go jump on the next one. But then being, like I said, surrounded by your system, to where you go from outbound calls to now inbound. Somebody went on your website, I want to sell my home. So maybe now the conversation is a little more fluid. And I've noticed that with direct mail. Some
Mm,
people I kind of help out outside of my group, and whenever I get the direct mail call, it seems very fluid. It's like, hey, how you doing? My name is George. Oh, you're looking for so and so. Oh, he's outside the office. Who am I speaking with? What address is this? And then we're just going through the flow. What's got you selling? Man, George, I got this property on the market for 8 months. It's not selling. What? Why do you think it's not selling? And then they're giving you that information compared to cold calling a foreclosure. Like, hey, how you doing, sir? My name is George. Click.
yeah.
I'm here to help. Click. Like, what do you mean
Right.
by help? Like, but it's just part of the game, I guess, Lisa. But yeah, but being able to share those, like say those ups and downs with you and people like yourself, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's part of the process. And it's, like they say, if you don't quit, then eventually it's going to work out. Right.
Yeah,
And you learn a lot throughout the process. And I think, just people have to have less like time expectations on when they
true.
think that they're going to be like successful in what they're, doing when it comes to like real estate, like wholesaling or
Mhm.
getting their first deal. Right. Cause
Yeah,
I see it, how it is with like, newer people. I've done this for 6 months or a year and I don't have a deal yet. But like, you have to understand that a lot of the things that we're doing, there's like a bunch of different skills that we have to learn: marketing,
true.
sales, systems, like business, if they really want to get it, like
Yes,
consistent. And that's not going to happen overnight. So, or
very.
even in a year, probably for some
Yeah.
people, but yeah, it takes a while.
And I'm pretty sure by saying that, Lisa, and I now I guess 2 or 3 years, something like that. Well, at least 2 years knowing, and I can kind of see. Too, I remember when I was like in my previous job, like at the post office, I can see when you come in like, he ain't gonna make it, or she's not gonna make it. To
Mm,
where you do see those questions, or man, this guy's asking the question, so he sounds like he's working for a dispo team.
mm,
We're buying properties in this area. When say we, what do you mean? And then you kind of smell that, or man, I'm gonna close a deal in a month. Like, bro, it takes about 12 follow-ups just to get
yeah.
that person to get to know you, understand what's going on. But obviously, if you're partnered with somebody like Lisa, now you have inbound leads, so the turnover, the conversion rate may be a lot smoother. But if you're cold calling, it's going to take a while, or if you don't have that mindset to understand, okay, I can shorten that learning curve by joining a team. But hopefully that team
Mhm.
is organized to where all I'm doing is cold calling, and everybody else facilitates their role in the
Mhm.
process.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point with like joining a team, because then you can kind of see like like the conveyor belt that they talk about, and just like how everything is kind of like set up. But also at the same time, like it's still not like your magic pill, because especially when it comes to most people, they probably don't have the sales skills like right off the bat, and they're gonna do like cold calling or whatever, unless it is like, yeah, inbound. But even then, what's the likelihood that you'd convert like right away? You still got to
Very
build your
small.
pipeline, and it takes time whenever it comes to like a sales process. I mean, yeah, it might be a little bit sooner with like inbound type of leads, but
Mm-hmm.
you still have to work your pipeline and follow up and do the stuff. Like join a team isn't gonna, you know, make
True.
you get a deal right away, unless, I mean, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
some teams do have like a bunch of hundreds of leads and stuff coming
Yeah.
through. But I think if they did, they'd probably want to bring on someone that had some sort of like ability to close them, like, so
Gotcha.
there's like variables to it, I think.
But I guess that goes back to when we were talking about the SEO thing, how you had another team and they weren't really fulfilling your expectations, even though you were getting a clearer vision of what your
Mhm.
expectations were. As same thing when somebody new joining a team, say, "Oh, I'm be a closer." Like, no, bro. Pace when he's talking to somebody. Not to say he's not any less of a closer, but he has a system as well. He has people like ourselves
Mhm.
bringing them leads, or he has a system that's bringing them that lead that's kind of been filtered through. They
Yeah.
are interested in selling, and all he's doing just verifying the information that he's gotten.
Right. By then they're already like on a silver platter. It's like, here, close
Yeah,
it,
true,
so
true.
he doesn't have to do all the grunt work on the front end, which it's going to be like that when people are first starting out. Like, you're going to have to go through that process. And I see sometimes, that people kind of just want to jump in immediately to, I'm just gonna cold call. I'm just gonna close, but they don't want
Yes,
to do a follow up. I'm like, you can't just skip like steps, 1 through 3 or whatever.
true.
Um, I mean, maybe, but it's not as common.
No, no, because there's a ratio that I still use. I like to share it every once in a while. It's like 10% of leads are already on the first call. 80% are ready with I get 12 or 13 plus follow-ups through text or email or calls, and then 10% are dead. Those are usually tire
Mhm.
kickers. Those are also for the right price. Or if
Yeah.
I don't get my price, like, okay, I'm wasting your time. So
Right.
it's like you're saying, it does go through the process and it is refining it, but it is depending on what type of lead source you're getting as well.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right. And I guess to kind of like add to that with like the lead source, and every lead source is going to have their own like metrics or KPIs on like how
Yes.
long the average time from lead to contract and things like
Mhm.
that. And yeah, maybe, or what they say like with inbound, like 1 to 15 or less, versus with
Yes.
cold call, it's like what, like 1 in 50. I don't know
I think
what
so.
the
Yeah.
numbers are, but so yeah, every marketing channel is different. And when you're starting out, you kind of don't know these benchmarks. I mean, yeah, you kind of do, but you really got to track it. And
Mhm.
but everyone kind of goes through that trying different things
Yes.
phase. So I did
Yeah,
it,
you have
and
to.
I pretty much did all the different marketing stuff. And yeah, just kind of learning the metrics behind it. And once you kind of start getting like that consistency, then you see like, oh, well, I just need this amount of leads, and it's going to equal this many deals. And you
Right.
kind of look at more like the numbers behind it,
Hmm.
versus just kind of like, I've been doing this for 6 months, like, why don't I have a deal yet? Right.
Right.
It's kind of like vague, like there's no like numbers behind it, like, well, how
Right.
many actual leads did you generate, like how many calls or whatever did you
Mhm.
do. That way you can kind of like really break it down. um just like little stuff like that. And now there's Chat GPT. You can like run questions through that. I was
Oh,
actually doing that yesterday. I was like, here are my current like stats, right?
mhm.
Like, how many leads are assigned, how many offers do we make, how many actually under contract.
Right.
And it kind of told me like, here are the benchmarks that you should aim for, and da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, cool. It's like my little like
Personal coach.
COO. Yeah, pretty
It,
much.
it knows you after a while because you don't have to keep saying, I'm a real estate investor. This is what I'm doing. You
Yeah,
can just say, hey, my leads suck. Oh, based on your, and I think it does remember from previous, so it kind of just knows what field you're in, and it knows how to relate to like if you are working out, it's gonna give you more workout tips or something like that. But yeah, it's like a personal coach, and
Hmm. Yeah,
um,
I've been.
I got the free version, so I can imagine how much the other version is way better. But
Yeah, you can ask it a bunch of questions and it gives you like bigger answers, I guess. But yeah,
right,
I use it for everything, like the business stuff, like
mhm,
personal, like all of
nice,
that. So it knows me, I guess. My
gotcha.
info's out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, I think I appreciate you coming through, and I do have one more question. If like say, how could I say, you started in 2019, 2020. Now we're 2025. What would you tell the newbie, the new booty, Lisa Martinez, starting off, watching a couple videos, on what
Mm,
to do better, or some advice that maybe that could save you that? Because I don't think it was, that time maybe it was meant to be, because everybody, gets to where they want to get to on their own
yeah.
time frame. But what would you tell that version of Lisa back then?
Mm, I would tell my old self to be more I guess like aggressive, like more proactive when it comes
Okay.
to like leads or like reaching people.
Mm,
Because like I said, I think there was a lot of delay in like reaching out, like cold calling and stuff.
right.
I was just trying to get people to come to me, and I think that kind of slowed down. Yeah, my like ability to get these skills,
Right.
communication and the sales. And what's funny is like I read a lot of books and watched a lot of videos on sales,
Right.
I learned all these like concepts and psychology behind it, but I was like not putting enough into it like in reality and like actually
Right.
getting on the phones and stuff to like implement these things that I was learning. So that would be one thing, right? And also tracking, like I said, the KPIs. And I would hear a lot about that and I didn't like understand like what does that mean?
Right.
What do I actually track?
Right.
But just kind of looking into that a little bit more, like
Hmm.
to see what kind of things you're actually doing that you can look at the numbers behind it and make decisions based on that versus just like the length of time that you've been doing things. Because if you really broke it down to, yeah, maybe you've done 6 months of real estate, but like on a daily basis, was it like 1 hour, 2 hours, like every
True.
random day? It wasn't consistent.
Hmm.
And yeah, so yeah, at the end of the day, just being consistent and trying to do it like on a daily basis, set hours and tracking it. And, whether that is cold calling or I don't know. I mean, I don't know if people still do SMS. I know it's getting harder, but just any whatever marketing that you're doing, track it and stick to it, be consistent, and connect with others. So being the introvert self that I am, I don't know, I mean, I did connect with some people, but I kind of I'm in the background sometimes.
The silhouette, like you see, or
Yeah.
like those video games when you go from male to female,
You're just
the
like
female, but
standing
you
there.
see the hair, but you don't can't see the face and stuff.
Yeah, so that was me. So
Mhm.
yeah, just kind of getting back out there. Mhm.
Gotcha. Well, Lisa, like I said, I appreciate you even taking this opportunity, and like I said, I got to know you a little bit better, and hopefully anybody listening out there, if they're interested, how would they be able to reach out to you?
So Facebook, by my name, Lisa
All right.
Martinez. I'm sitting on a bench. Like I kept that picture like since I've started, pretty much.
Never stops.
So that way people would know who I am. Because
Uh-huh.
I don't know how everyone else is, but sometimes I forget people's names, but I know their face and like
Right.
what they look like. So,
True.
and then Instagram, it's lisa.m.rei.
Okay.
And I did a YouTube, but I haven't posted anything. And that's
Oh.
just, yeah, it's lisa.realestate. And then also TikTok is lisa.realestate. So
Um,
Instagram is the only one that's different, but someone else has that username. So can't
Oh
take
man,
it.
because your
Yeah.
name does sound like it's maybe a common name. So I
Yeah.
don't know if any money famous out there, just off the top of my head, like a Jennifer Lopez, but
Yeah.
you're way better than her though.
Yeah, I don't have the George Paredes name, so I'm just
No, no, that's
Lisa.
good. That's good, Lisa. Well, yeah. Hopefully, like I say, hopefully everybody enjoyed. Just like I enjoyed getting to know you a little bit better. Biggest thing was like, wow, 2020. Damn, you're a real veteran. That's badass. You've got a lot
Yeah.
of years, but also learning to maybe lean on you on going through the process. Like say, just understanding like, hey, you fell on your face. Don't worry about it. Shoot, I fell on my face 8 times. Just keep getting up. Figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
Yes. Yeah. Just keep
All right.
going. And yeah, if anyone wants to reach out, I'm, happy to connect and answer questions and things. And hopefully you'll be seeing a little bit more of me. I'm trying to get back on TikTok. I did, I was very consistent at one point and then I kind of just fell off the wagon, but
Right.
I'm trying to get back on there.
Well, maybe go back to what we were talking about, the KPIs, just something simple like one
Hmm.
TikTok a day.
Yeah.
Boom. And get out the way. Now the whole day you're free to do whatever you want.
Right. Yeah. I need to put it on my time block,
There
get
you
some
go. There you
content
go.
out there. Hmm.
Cool, cool. Well, all right. Lisa, just hold on. I'll be speaking to you after this. But for everybody else, thank you for coming through. And like I said, this is a good old generic, just meet and greet. Getting to know Lisa at the same time as you guys are. And if you need anything from her, myself, just feel free to reach out to us. We're always willing to help out as much as we can. And see you next time.
Bye, guys.